Hello, hello. Welcome as y'all are hopping on. I'm Sarah. We'll get started in just a minute. Give folks a few more minutes to join us live. We do have a quick poll for you to participate in as you are hopping in to join us. If you could just fill that out real quick, that'll help me to know where you are in the membership process, how you're feeling, and how we can support you today. I'll also encourage you to go ahead and change your chat over to everyone. It probably is defaulting to hosts and panelists. When it's on everyone, then when you're giving responses during the training today, everyone can see it. This will give you an opportunity to get to know other people a little bit and to get some more support from each other as we workshop some ideas today. As you're coming in as well, I would absolutely love to know a little bit about your membership. So feel free to let me know in the chat where you are in the world and what your membership is. How do you help people? Who are you helping? What is the point of what you're doing? And we'll get started in just a couple minutes. This is webinar style. I cannot see you or hear you. So you are free to do whatever you need behind the screen. I've got a cup of coffee today. Please feel free to have whatever you need in order to feel supported. Water, snacks, lunch, dinner. You're all set. Please do take a moment to fill out our little poll on your way in. That will help me to frame the presentation today, make sure it's as useful as possible for you. And once you've done that, come on over to the webinar chat. Make sure you switch it over to everyone and let me know what your membership is, what you're working on, and who you help with your membership so I can get to know you a little bit. We'll give folks just another minute to hop on live, and then we'll get started. We have a lot to cover today. This is an interactive webinar. We're going to be using the chat a lot to workshop some ideas and concepts that we're going to be learning today. So make sure you do have your chat switched over to everyone, and let me know over in the chat. Yeah, where are you in the world? What is your membership? What does it do? How does it help people? And then we'll dive into our workshop shortly. Again, I'll reiterate, this is webinar style. If I cannot see you and hear you, you are in good shape over there. You can have a snack, have a drink. I've got some coffee today. We do have a lot to cover. So whatever you need to feel supported in this training, please feel free to grab it. Hi, Grace. It's good to see you. Welcome. So glad you're here. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. One second, I see, all right, we kind of have a mix here in terms of where we are in the membership process. Some of you are feeling very prepared to be launching and growing your membership. Some of you have launched already, and some of you are somewhat prepared but need help. So you're in the right place. Sales pages are really one of the most important parts of your sales process. So whether you're feeling really confident or you need a confidence boost, we'll cover that today. Hi, Emily. You run a theater advocacy group in New York City. I'm in New York City as well. Hello. You research and highlight plays by historic women. Very fun. You've started a subscription service so folks can find them out. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Emily. Welcome. If you're just joining us now, please feel free to take a minute. Oh, we have some more folks hopping on. I'll give folks just a second to introduce yourself over in the chat. Make sure you switch your chat over to everyone rather than hosts and panelists. This means that everyone can see as you are sharing in the chat today. We are going to be using the chat to workshop some ideas, some language, and some concepts for your sales page today. So make sure you have that set up. I'd love to know over in the chat as we're getting started where you are in the world and what your membership is, what you're doing here with MemberSpace, who you're helping, how you're helping them. All right, let me get us started. I want to make sure we have plenty of time to workshop ideas today. Hi, Catherine. You're a product designer and designer educator based in San Francisco. Amazing. Welcome, Catherine. It's so good to see you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just give me a quick thumbs up. Yes, I got you in the chat that you can see me and hear me still, but now you see a screen that says sales pages that convert. We got it all. So let me know real quick in the chat. And do make sure that you switch your chat over to everyone from hosts and panelists. That way everyone will see when you respond. All right, Emily, you got me. Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much. I just want to always make sure before I start talking that we can see everything. Great. Okay, y'all, as we are getting started today, just our pre-flight checklist real quick. First of all, I definitely recommend having a way to take notes today, whether that's a Google Doc, pen and paper, whatever you need. We are going to be workshopping a lot of ideas, teaching a lot of concepts that we're going to do some today, but you're still going to want to apply them and keep working on them in the future. So make sure you have a way to capture that. You're also welcome to take a picture of slides with your phone or a screenshot. There's going to be a lot of prompts today. I'm going to introduce the prompts, give some example, and then we'll workshop on the prompts together. But the prompts are going to be really great place for you to hang on to them so you can keep diving in more later. As I've mentioned, this is webinar style. I cannot see you or hear you. You are safe behind your screen. So whatever you need, a snack, you got a screaming baby, a barking dog, make sure you have whatever you need to feel supported. And I've got my coffee today, so no need to be formal. Please make sure you're comfortable during this training, especially because we do have a lot of work to do. If you're able to, I encourage you to close other browser windows. And I know we can't always, but maybe put your phone on silent or in another room, just so you can be really present and get the most out of this training. And I do encourage you again to change your chat to everyone. It defaults to hosts and panelists. That's annoying. We want to make sure that everyone can see what you're posting today because we're going to be doing a lot of interaction. And finally, that's the last piece. I'm going to encourage you to be ready to share. This is a workshop. You will get the most out of this if you are actually able to participate and respond to the prompts, because then I can actually give you some feedback while we're live on this call. If we have some time at the end, we can workshop some ideas more specifically as well. So real quick, hi, I'm Sarah. I know I've met some of you I am new to. I'm a membership business coach here at MemberSpace. I have been working in online education and online product design for 7 years. I've worked with thousands of small business owners building online businesses and have a real specialty in memberships. And sales conversions in particular is my area of expertise. It's my favorite thing to do. So I'm really going to bring all of that experience to you today, the hundreds of launches that I've supported, so that we can really refine your messaging and get the best possible conversion on your membership sales page. So today you're going to learn the key sections that you must have on your sales page to attract new members. And the really great thing you'll see is that these sections actually can map onto other kinds of content. These are really core things that people need to experience in order to make buying decisions. You're also going to learn the common mistakes that keep your buyers from saying yes to your membership and how to solve that. We want to make sure that there's no kind of low-hanging fruit that gets in the way of good conversions. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the best tips for high converting sales pages. There are some best practices, both in terms of copy and design, that we'll talk about today. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm actually just going to give you a brief overview of a sales page that converts. I'm going to share my other screen, 1 second. A quick little example of a template. Now we're going to use this template. We're going to kind of break it down. Here we go. And show examples as we go through this training, but I just want to show you it kind of overall. This is a really simple template that I developed for this training of what a high converting sales page often looks like. There's a lot of flexibility here, but this kind of very simple, very straightforward model is extremely effective. Unless you think it's too simple, there's a little bit more below this. I personally have had a lot of success using essentially this model to sell all sorts of products, as have many of our clients and customers here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through this step by step. So don't worry about getting all the details quite yet. But your sales page needs to start with a transformational statement of some kind. People need to know what they're going to get out of this membership. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is not being clear on the transformation, just saying, here's my cool membership. No one cares. Maybe your mom cares. Seriously, though, we often kind of bury the information that people actually need to make buying decisions. So we want that information along with a big old join now, right? Or a way to purchase above the fold, or as somebody said on another workshop I did, above the scroll. You don't want people to have to scroll down in order to make a buying decision. This is often because folks will look at your sales page and then come back to purchase later. We want them just to be able to click. We don't want them to have to look for anything. Our second section here is all about witnessing the ideal client and their journey. We're going to learn more about this, but we're going to make sure that we're able to describe the challenges that your customer is having before they work with you. This is going to build trust and make it easier for people to know that they're in the right place when they're coming to your membership. Depending on your membership, it might make sense to have a little bit of a bio with a personal story that mirrors the story of your ideal client. This isn't always important, but especially for those of you that have more personal brand businesses, this can be really critical. Again, we'll look at some examples. And then we're going to move into a section of the outcome, right? The desire that your customer has, why they want to be in your membership, and what outcome it's going to help to create. Such another join button. Usually people bury these, huh? We're going to talk about the importance of testimonials and how you can use those in order to help build trust and reduce risk for your customers. We're going to talk about how to actually show the features of your membership in a way that helps people to buy. A huge mistake people make on sales pages is like listing out all of the features like in this like insane detail. Like there are 70 videos and 500 pages of PDF and like all of this stuff. And it's actually not why people buy. In fact, that just sounds immediately overwhelming to me. People buy things when they understand how it's going to help them get the result. So we're going to talk about how to do that and how to make sure that the things in your membership, the features of your membership are actually tied to the benefit of the membership, how they're going to help you get a result. So people can see, oh, right, I need access to this thing because it's going to create this possibility. We're going to talk a little bit about presenting the price, how you demonstrate the value of the membership, and some of the strategies in order to do that. There's a couple really great ones, and we'll break down what this kind of model is doing as well. And yes, more great testimonials and another buy button. Just a little side note, a little quick tip, having a buy button at the top and the bottom is great because a lot of people will also just scroll to the bottom of a page. This kind of sales page is called a long form sales page. This is actually a very short one. And I just want to explain why we use this before we break down a little bit. Sales pages that are a little bit longer are designed to hit, first of all of the different kinds of communications that are required for someone to make a buying decision, which is exactly what you're going to learn today. And they're designed to meet different kinds of customers. Different people make purchases with different ways. You just let me know in the chat. Are you someone who buys something like immediately? You see it, it looks cool, and you're like, oh, I want that? Are you someone who reads every single word, every bit of detail on a page? Are you someone who just like kind of gets a vibe and then thinks about it? You can think about this. Let me know in the chat if you know how you buy. I tend to be kind of an impulse person myself. Some people really need a lot of information in order to make the best buying decision for them. So what we're trying to do here is to cater to all of these things, right? Catherine looks at the price first and then reads the details. Totally, Catherine. And it's a little bit outside the scope of what we're talking about today, but something really cool you can do with these Join Now buttons, depending on your software, is actually have it anchor down to the price. So basically when somebody clicks that button, they're seeing the price immediately, which is, you can all see that's a great thing for people like you. Yep. So we're trying to recognize that a lot of people have different ways of making purchases. And that's why these longer pages are popular, is because you're trying to hit these different strategies for different kinds of buyers. Okay. So now that we've seen the brief overview, right? Again, that's just like the big kind of template, simple version of this. Let's dive in to, first of all, some key basic tips, right? You've seen them, but now I just want to reiterate them before we get into the kind of nitty gritty here. Top level stuff, definitely take a picture of this, okay? These are going to help your sales page shine, and these are the common mistakes that I see. So as I mentioned, make sure it's easy for people to purchase. It's very common for me to see sales pages where the buy button is buried or it's confusing or you can't find it. If you're going to, for example, put like a full pricing structure at the bottom, which we'll talk about later, right? Just like to Catherine's point, we want to make it easy for people to see that. Now, you're not trying to hide the price. People who purchase online at this point, they're not stupid, right? They know there's a price. We want to make sure that's really easy for people to buy. And again, especially if they're coming back to the page, right? Maybe they've thought about it, they've been considering it. We don't want them to have to scroll through the page to find the buy button. So making sure that you put buttons throughout or options for people to purchase, make it easy. Second big tip here is to write copy using the second person, using you, to speak directly to the potential customer. It's really common when people write sales pages, especially for the first time, to talk about I a lot, we'll get into that in a second, or use the word we. Imagine you're just talking to an actual person, right? You're writing this sales page for someone who is actually considering buying your thing, right? You wouldn't talk to a person if you had a physical shop and someone came in. You wouldn't say, "Hi, we," right? Of course not. It's much more natural to actually just write and say, "You. This is a program for people like you who are interested in this thing. Are you someone who has this challenge?" Just imagine you're talking to an actual person when you're writing, and use that second person to make that copy really stick out. You're also going to want to talk way less about yourself. You might have noticed in my little overview there was only one place where, in this case, I talked about me, right? A brief bio section. One of the big mistakes on sales pages, again, to the point that people don't actually really care until you make them care, is making it about you. We'll look at some examples, but saying things like, "I made this membership because I really want to work with you, and I'm so excited to share this with you." That's how we talk to our friends, right? "I'm so excited." On a sales page, it's really not about you. It should be about your customer and their journey. If you're able to show them that you understand what they need, they're going to trust you more, and you don't need to talk about yourself all that much. And finally, we'll go more into this, but make sure you're tying all content on the page to the transformation. I mentioned that specifically with the benefits, but it's very common for people just to list stuff out and let it kind of hang around. Do the cognitive work for the people on the sales page. They're already busy trying to figure out if it's the thing they need. Don't force them to make the connection between your 500-page PDF and the outcome they're trying to achieve. Tell them why it is important for the outcome they're trying to achieve. So definitely take a screenshot of this. This is a great little checklist as you get bit deeper into making sales pages to ensure that you have all of that information really clear and that you're not kind of committing these kind of basic mistakes that will get in the way of people having a better experience on your sales page. Right. So now we're going to start our workshopping portion, okay? That was kind of my brief overview, top level, you got it, all right? The big thing we're gonna be focusing on today are what I call the core sales communications. These are the things that customers need to experience in order to make a buying decision. This is a huge deal. This is a distillation of all of the different stuff that people are doing when they have a sales and marketing plan or strategy. And the way we're talking about it today is really designed to be applicable regardless of what you're selling and regardless of what changes kind of in the wider marketplace. People need to understand the transformation of your membership, right? They need to know why they should care, what it's going to do for them. They need to know that you understand their customer journey, where they've been and where they want to go. They do need to understand the features, right? They need to know what's included, but it needs to be tied to the benefit. It needs to be something that makes sense to them, right? It's not a 500-page PDF. It's a workbook that will help them to solve XYZ. They need to feel inspired. They need to actually believe that it's possible for them to do this. They also need to experience risk mitigation. Purchasing something feels risky. Even in this day and age, buying something online feels like a risk. You don't know what's inside. What if you don't like it? We'll talk about those strategies today. And then finally, people need to understand the value, the financial value of your offer. We're going to go in depth into each of these and workshop them a little bit. But I really want to highlight that these communications can be used in your emails, in your social media posts, in your podcasts, when you're doing presentations for other people's communities, whatever it is that you're marketing, anything you're doing like that, keeping in mind that these are the things that people need. It's not just on the sales page, but the sales page is the place where we do all of them at once. So you can spin these off and use them in different ways. This kind of communication is what helps people to make a buying decision. But we'll talk about it for the sales page today, but I just want your brain to start working and think about, okay, how else can I use this in the future? All right, we're going to get started. Let's talk about the membership transformation. Now, if you've been to one of my webinars here in MemberSpace already, you've probably already heard me talk about this. It's worth doing again. Those of you that are at your first one, this is so important. Quite read that I talk about it all the time. The biggest mistake that membership owners make is not having a clear transformative goal, okay? Your membership has to be designed to actually do something for people, right? People are not going to purchase it just because it's cool. Some will, but to actually get enough people for a successful membership, we need to understand where we're going. What is the potential outcome? What is this making possible? So I'm going to introduce these concepts. We're going to look at some examples, and then we'll come back and workshop them, okay? So your sales page, as I showed you in that demonstration, should begin with a clear statement of the transformation that your membership facilitates. Some ways to start to think about this are, what is the potential after for a member who actively uses your membership? How will their daily life change? How might the trajectory of their life change overall? It's important to note there are a lot of different kinds of transformations. Often we are solving a problem of some kind, but sometimes we are affirming values for people, right? By participating in the membership, they are affirming their values as they belong to a certain kind of community, that there are certain things they think are important. Sometimes we're just saving people time, making it easier for them to do stuff. There's a lot of different kinds of transformations, but we have to be able to say what it's designed to do at the top of the page. It's the first place where people will understand if this membership is actually what they're looking for. We'll look at a couple examples and then we'll work on yours. So here's a membership I invented called the membership. And you can see this is kind of based off of that little template I showed you. The transformation statement here is grow your membership, right? People join the membership because they want to grow their membership. And here I said without paid ads, endless social media, or stressful late nights, right? The transformation of this membership is to help you grow your membership without these things that are driving you nuts. Here's one of our MemberSpace customers, My Music Workshop. Such a clear and simple, above the fold online music lessons that kids love. Start playing piano, drums, and ukulele today. We know the transformation immediately, right? They're going to start playing today. And really critically, this is something that kids love. That's actually speaking to a bit of an objection, right? There's probably tons of online music lessons that kids don't love, or there's a fear that the kids won't enjoy it. Keeping in mind that in this case, right, they're not selling to children, they're selling to parents and caregivers. So online music lessons that kids love, start playing piano, drums, and ukulele today. Super clear, super simple, super direct. Here is another one of our customers at MemberSpace, Cave Day. Get more done in less time. Really simple, right? We know the transformation. Get more done in less time. Unbelievably simple, clear, straightforward. So let's take a look for you guys. Let me know in the chat. What is your membership transformation? Got a typo there, sorry, y'all. All right, give me the brief, the one-liner, the two-liners, right? What happens when somebody uses your membership? What is it designed to do? It's okay if you don't have this perfect right now, but please take a stab on it while we're here live so I can give you a little bit of feedback. This is something, first of all, that is an ongoing thing you'll keep refining as you work on your membership. Sandy says, help them become more fit and healthy. Cool. What does that do for them? Let's go a little bit more, right? Fit and healthy does what for them, Sandy? Does it help them, I don't know, be able to chase after their kids? Does it help them be able to, I don't know, take active vacations they've been dreaming of? What are they, what do they want from being fit and healthy? Oh, I love this. Keep up with the grandkids. See, that's really specific, Sandy. Feel better and more confident is great, but that's what everyone who teaches somebody that's health and fitness says, right? Keep up with grandkids, really specific. I love it. Catherine says, from uncertainty to a well-designed portfolio that will land you your first design job. Catherine, let's get even more specific, right? Land your first design job. That's the transformation. All the other stuff, that's the that's kind of the like how you get them there, right? What gets them to the outcome is designing that portfolio. But land your first design job, that's the transformation. Amazing. Hey, Rashonda, welcome. Anyone else want to take a stab at it? Look at that level of specificity though. Get your first design job, keep up with the grandkids. Let's see yourself in classic plays and transform your understanding of history. And why do they want that, Emily? Why do they want to transform their understanding of history? What does that do for them? I imagine with your work, some of the transformation is values alignment, right? People who they appreciate the beauty and the love theater and things like that. But let's poke a little bit deeper, right? And see yourself in classic plays. And I may not know enough about your offer. I don't know what that means, right? But why do you want to transform their understanding of history? So one of the great things often, and I think we did this with almost all of these, is often the first thing we come up with is kind of like not the total end transformation. It's like the pre-transformation. It's like the thing that is helping them to start to feel it, or it's what they're going to do. It's almost the action. Rashonda says to provide connections with the past to move into the future. And why do they want that? What does that make possible for them? What kind of future are they trying to move into? Maybe you can tell me a little bit more about what you're doing, Rashonda. That might help me to get more specific with you. Evolution, like as their personal evolution, so they can like live a different kind of life, a more authentic life, have better relationships, get new jobs, those kinds of things. Like what happens when they evolve? Okay, great. Yeah, so I was starting to get really specific about that. Moving, connection with the past, moving in the future is really beautiful and poetic. And there's probably a place for that on the sales page. But for the transformational statement, we want to be really clear, right? Evolve, so that you can what, right? What is going to become possible for them when they go through this process? Awesome work, y'all. Emily says the future of classics is female. I don't think that kind of gets to the transformation, right? That's like a fun statement. That could be a really good social media post. But what does it make possible for them, right? Like what is going to happen when they learn these things? What do they get out of having that experience? Yeah. Let's see. Grace says, flowers in your garden, beauty in your inbox, the antidote to the anxiety of modern life. Yeah, I think that something like escape the anxiety of modern life might be a good transformational statement. I like that a lot. Flowers in your garden, beauty in your inbox. Totally. Awesome, y'all. Yeah, escapism, I think. Laura says, transform your life and gain the tools to thrive in your family and career. Cool. Again, I would be even more specific. Laura, based on what you're doing, thrive in your family and career, obviously super important to people, but also something that a lot of different programs work on. So we can get even more specific. I love where Sandy got, right? Where we go from this idea of become more fit and healthy to keep up with grandkids, right? What does it look like when they thrive in their family and career? What is changing for them? All right, we'll keep going, but this is a great place to keep chewing. One thing you can think about is this something you can actually see through a camera, or something where somebody could actually describe it using really like very descriptive language, like you were reading like a literary fiction novel. Often when we write transformation statements, we tend to use kind of vague language that isn't necessarily how our customers would describe it. But don't worry, we can go deeper because the customer journey will also give us a chance to get more clear here. Okay. Awesome, Rashonda, but I'll ask also, what is the new you, right? What does that literally look like in their lives? Imagine you have a video camera and you're filming your customers after they've gone through your membership, right? After they've been there for a while. What is different in their lives? Did they used to, stay up late scrolling social media, and now they're tucked into bed reading a book? Just starting to get a little creative with it will often get you more clear on the transformation. Awesome work, y'all. Awesome work. This is exactly what we're doing at workshop style, because like we're gonna keep poking at it until it clicks. And also, of course, you can always change it, right? I think that's what Grace was saying. I need to reflect more on what changes your members notice. Exactly. Once your members are in it, we'll go back and forth a bit. Now let's take a look at the customer journey, because this is going to kind of continue this conversation. The customer journey answers two questions. The first is, what is the ideal member's current challenge before they join your membership? And then what is their desired outcome that these challenges are preventing them from achieving? You should notice right off the bat that second piece, desired outcome that the challenges are preventing them from achieving, it should be something that pretty much matches your transformation. But this will give you the opportunity to get more specific and to talk to different things that happen when people work with you. Let's look at a couple examples, all right? Here's from my fake membership, the membership. Are you a membership owner who is overwhelmed trying to get new members? committed to making your membership work, but not sure how many more late nights you can handle. Know you need better systems if you're going to scale, but go cross-eyed just looking at a project management system, right? So this is, I'm kind of painting a picture, right, of the experience that somebody is having before they join my membership. These are things that tend to happen for people who are starting memberships. Anyone here feeling this way? And I know this from working with so many people, but you probably have a sense of where they are in their lives right now. What's going on? What's the problem? When we actually show people that we understand this, we show them that we see where they are right now, it builds a lot of trust. You're not inventing problems. You're not telling them that something's wrong with them. You don't need to. They already have something that they're trying to change. And this would be the after. Imagine how you'll feel when you're launching high converting promotions that consistently sell your membership. You scale your membership to help hundreds and thousands of members. You set up your system so you can automate and delegate. Here I'm getting more specific, right? If the transformation was grow your membership, now we're painting some examples of what that looks like. That was what I was kind of starting to get some of you to start to think about, right? It's like, okay, great, like feel better, but what does that look like? What does feeling better look like? How do you show up in the new you, right? Let's look at another example. This is from the Social Broker membership, one of our MemberSpace customers. This is really fun because they did it side by side, right? So you can see going from feeling overwhelmed by social media to creating content in minutes, right? Before, after. Posting here and there, showing up consistently, watching other agents grow, reaching new levels in your own business, cold calls, easy relationships, X, Y, right? So this is a different way of laying it out, but you can see this really clear link that they're creating between where the customer is now and where they want to be. So let's just brainstorm a couple things real quickly. Again, we don't need to get super detailed here because you will have time to do this on your own. But tell me real quick, what maybe are one or two challenges, specific challenges that your customers tend to have before they join your membership? And what would it look like if they've changed those, right? And Emily, I think this might be a really interesting place for you if part of what they're trying to do is kind of get into understanding these plays by historic women. What is it happening that they feel like they're are they feeling something about like their education having gaps in it? Do they maybe have children and they want to be able to show them a more varied history of theater, but they don't think they have the skills to do that? Stuff like that. There's things that you can kind of think about here that will start to get it more specific, Emily. Catherine says, everyone is telling you need a portfolio, but you don't know where to start. Imagine having a reusable platform to build world-class case studies without stress. Yeah, definitely, right? You have to have a portfolio, but you don't know where to start. Amazing. Are you a theater artist or educator who loves classical theater but doesn't see yourself in the characters, is committed to diversity and representation, but wants to keep a foot in the classics, wants to pass down a legacy of the excellent women in history you wish you'd known? Yeah, fun. I think that's fun. And I think there's something interesting like here, Emily, I'm just curious. I feel like what you're working on is just a little bit different that I want to make sure we get a couple of these hooks in. I think keeping a foot in the classics, I'm really curious about this piece where people are like, I really like classics, but obviously they're quite literally like, whitewashed. Like there's something really interesting in that middle one. Like you really, want to, that there's more to our history than what has been taught in school kind of thing. Might be kind of neat. All right, Catherine, yeah, portfolio, reusable platform. Rashonda starting a magazine, and my project is about history and exposure. Okay. So what are they going to learn, right? What are they going to get out of it? What are the things that they wish they knew now and they don't, right? Or wish they had experiences of, and that they don't have that access to, and what's going to be possible for them once they do know that, right? Kind of similarly to what Emily's talking about. Once they know these things, they'll be able to share it with their friends and their children. They'll be able to kind of create a stronger understanding of, as you're saying, connecting to the past to build the future. I can see where that's coming up now, right? So they'll be able to draw on this kind of history, this lineage in order to do X, Y, Z. Anyone else want to take a stab? Just give me one example of a before and an after. is just so you can start to think this way. Often when we're making something, right, we're really focused on all the stuff we're putting in it, right? How many this, how many that. This is going to help to really clarify. And this, again, it's really important for your customers to see that you understand this. Often some of these things, they're aware of them, but they might be a little bit subconscious. When they read it on your page, they get this moment, like, honestly, of relief. Like, thank God someone knows what I'm talking about. Thank goodness someone knows what I'm looking for. Yeah. Okay, great. We'll keep moving on, but again, you can take a picture of this and keep working on this after our training today. Let's see, Sandy says, feeling sluggish with no energy to being vibrant with a lot of energy. Awesome, Sandy. And let's get really specific. What does it look like when they feel sluggish, right? Again, imagine you have a video camera, like you take out your phone and you're filming them, right? You can't see sluggish. What do you see, right? Collapsing onto the couch as soon as you get home from work. That's something you can see. Needing 3 alarms in order to wake up. That's something you can see. So this idea of like almost like, can you film it? No energy to get housework done, right? Dishes piling up in the sink. Totally. Amazing. Allison says, you're overwhelmed and don't have the time, energy, or desire to meal plan. Now you can have a plan for the week so you can execute easy dinners for your family. Yeah, and I bet there's probably something there about, what they are eating or the financial or kind of like, health stress of that you could maybe mention if it's appropriate for your audience. I know anything with food, obviously, there's a lot of nuance and care to be put into place. Easily, execute easy dinners for your family. And also, why do they want that, right? So they can spend more time with your family rather than cooking, right? What does that make possible for them? Also, Allison, make sure you change your chat over to everyone from hosts and panelists. That way everyone can see what you're chatting about. Awesome. Y'all are doing great, right? I know you're like, I showed up, she's putting me on the spot, making me do stuff, but you're already starting to think a little bit differently and getting more specific here. Great job, y'all. Really awesome work. All right, we're gonna start talking about the features versus benefits a little bit. So all of the features in your membership must be tied to a transformational benefit. If you've taken my Simple Memberships that Sell workshop, you're already familiar with this idea because we talk about how you want to make sure that the components of your membership, which are the features, actually have a purpose, right? We're not trying to just put stuff in there for no reason. So when it comes to selling it, essentially you need to make the case for it, right? So we need to understand, first of all, what are the key features of your membership, the most important things? What does each feature make possible for your members? How does it actually help them achieve the transformation? It's your job to explain that to them, right? They don't want to see a list of stuff. They want to see how you are planning to help them get where they are trying to go. A little key here to kind of unlock this is to use the language so you can. You don't have to literally use it, but it's a really great device to get you thinking in this way. We'll see an example in just a second, but I'll come back to the PDFs, right? Fillable PDF workbooks so you can easily plan your dinners for the week ahead, for example. All right. Let's see. Grace says, love the before and after, just trying to work out how to do arrows on Squarespace. Maybe emojis, perhaps. You might be able to use an emoji arrow. I don't know if that would work with your design specifically. You can also do it split up into 2, like this one here. It's 2 different sections, actually, right? Even though the other one looks really nice. This looks nice. But you can do it in 2 different sections, too. All right, features and benefits. Here we are. So let's take a look at this, right? Here's an example from my fake membership, the membership. When you join the membership, you get access to 1, expert members-only content. Access our growing library, blah, 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 to take the guesswork out of scaling your membership, right? So it's not a list of how many videos there are or how many courses there are or like 100 templates, right? It's like, here's the stuff so you can take the guesswork out of scaling your membership. Live calls so you can easily get your questions answered, all right? There you go. Private community, you're never alone. The private community offers support and encouragement between calls. That's why you have it. for each of the things in your membership, you need to make the case for them. Here's an example from With Sarah, who has a fitness platform that is run off of MemberSpace. There's some really great examples here. I love this one, modifications to fit your level. So you're always being pushed, right? But never exceeding your fitness level, really making the case for why they need these modifications. So you're being pushed, but never exceeding them. Track your progress because it's empowering to see your workout history. You can see how far you've come. 15 to 30 minutes is all you'll need. So you can do this anytime, anywhere. We're kind of seeing these features and benefits. This is a little bit more intermixed in terms of how they wrote the copy. But you can see instead of like listing 350 workouts, right, they're making the case for it being always something new, right? And that there's all of these different types, not just a list of videos that you need. Here's one from the Richmond experience. This is a membership platform that gives people basically behind the scenes on what's going on in Richmond, Virginia. They have a really great sales page. And I love this, right? We have some really good examples here. The Weekly Insider, be the first to know about new spots, trending restaurants, social events, and more. No more FOMO, right? So it's not just get our newsletter, because honestly, that's boring, right? It is, we're going to carefully curate this so you never miss a thing. Searching for something fun to do this weekend got much easier because you can just search in their event calendar, right? There's all of these different things, but here, instead of like leaving it just kind of hanging in the open of like, yeah, here's our newsletter and stuff, they're explaining how this is going to actually benefit them. So let's take a look real quick, right? What are the key features of your membership and what do they make possible? What is the transformation of them? Let's take a moment real quick to take a look at this. Okay, this take the feature and tie it to a benefit. Maybe just pick one to start. What is the key thing that they get when they join? And what is the transformational benefit of that feature? Give me some examples in the chat. A really great way to look at this is that if you do have a sales page or you've been thinking of something that's very numbers driven, like over 70 hours of video or whatever, that's definitely a sign that we need to add a benefit to it. Catherine says, templates and instructional guides give you a step-by-step process that you can use time and again as you build out your portfolio. Fantastic, right? Very clear, step-by-step process, use time and again to build a portfolio. Grace has private Instagram so you can see behind the scenes and find out how growing flowers is really done. Yeah, great job. Totally, right? Now they're like, oh, now I want that, right? Emily says, save time, download our pre-edited scripts so you and your audience can see the relevance immediately. I would get a little bit more specific there, Emily. Again, there's probably some more context, but the relevance of what, right? And pre-edited, what about them is pre-edited? I think it might depend on the sales page, but that sounds like unless there's a lot more context around the offer, we'll probably need just a little bit more, but saving time is definitely a great one there. Okay, so Sandy, that sounds like that is kind of your course, I guess. What does that make possible for them, right? Why do they need this course? What is that going to do, right? So expert 6-module program that takes the guesswork out of getting your energy back or something like that. Catherine, feedback sessions to give you help in building your case studies as you go. Yeah, I think, and yeah, I would say expert feedback to get help. I think we could phrase that in a way that maybe is like just a slightly a little punchier. Expert feedback sessions to get help in building your case studies as you go. Yeah, awesome. Well, what is one of the features of your magazine? Can you give us an example of something you're going to do? That might help us be able then to think about what the benefit would be, right? So Maybe, often there's like a certain, maybe you're doing an interview in each issue or something, right? Hear directly from someone with this experience so you can, benefit from their hard-earned wisdom and apply it in your own life, depending on what the feature is. Emily says, be astonished at the stories of the stories. Pass down not only their plays, but the incredible histories of these women. Cool. Awesome. Expert feedback from design professionals. Exactly. So you can what? So your portfolio stands out in the slush pile, right? Laura has proven tools and guidance that support your healing journey so you can leave behind negative patterns and thrive. Yeah, I think proven tools and guidance sounds a little bit vague for a feature. I wonder if we might be able to get a little bit more specific. Maybe call it a framework or something if you have it like that. Yeah, of course, Laura. That's right. We are working on it. You are in the right place. Let's see. But yeah, I think maybe a little bit more specific than proven tools and guidance. Even if it's like, you want to come up with a name for your system or something, if maybe you have a name for your system, access to the proprietary Nega Blaster healing system. That was really bad. I'm so sorry. So you can leave behind your negative patterns and thrive. You're right. Nega Blaster is all yours. Negative Blaster, Laura. You got that one. All right, Allison says, organize shopping lists so you can be in and out of the grocery store in no time. Yeah, what a great one, right? Like, yes, that's so specific and so clear. Awesome, y'all. Great work. All right. So in order to do this, right, we have to understand the features of the membership. We have to understand what it includes. And that's kind of step one. And then we want to make sure we can make the case for it, right? Why does it matter? Awesome work, y'all. All right, let's keep going. So after all this, right, people need to feel inspired. They need to actually believe that they can benefit from your membership. Depending on what you're doing, right, these can be a lot of different things, but often we're looking at things like case studies or testimonials, right? What can you share that speak to the transformational possibility of your membership? If your membership is brand new and you haven't worked with anyone yet, then maybe you'll have some other customers or people from other parts of your life who can give some feedback or share something. You also ask, do you have a personal journey that makes sense to share here, right? That might be something really powerful, actually. Rashonda, depending on what makes sense for you, right? You're called to make this magazine that has this impact. Your personal story might be very inspiring, why this matters to you and why you're making it. I think, Emily, depending on the context of your organization, if it's you or your founder or kind of your board of directors, having a bit of a personal statement about the transformational journey could really make that as well. Catherine says, I was a new designer trying to get started in my career and completely overwhelmed with how to build my portfolio. Exactly, Catherine. Yeah, we're gonna look at some examples in just a moment, but you're on it. So the idea of a case study or testimonial is that it's going to be a customer, right? Somebody who is giving you money, ideally, who is going to talk about how it has helped them achieve the transformation or get closer to the transformation. This is really important because people are much less likely to trust you talking about your own thing because they know you have a vested interest. It's your thing. But for the member, the person who purchased it, right? I understand we can be a little cynical about it if necessary, but likely, right? They liked it enough to let you use these words. That's pretty good. Obviously, this is a joke one, but the way it's structured is really important, right? This thing, the membership helped me to achieve this result without this stuff that was making it hard for me. Really great case studies and testimonials are actually not talking about you. They're not like, Catherine is the best teacher and I love Catherine so much and I learned so much from Catherine. All that might be true, Catherine, right? Laura helped me so much. Laura's great. Work with Laura. All of that's fine. Those are not really going to be as useful on the sales page. We want the customer to be talking about their own experience with the work, right? So that it becomes about the membership, it becomes about the membership transformation and less about you being awesome, though I'm sure you are. Here's an example from Colder Creative, it's one of our MemberSpace customers. We can see this, I think I learn something new every day and every lesson gets straight to the point, right? Totally worth the money. This course really pushes you to be better no matter how good you think you are. Never seen a course that's jam-packed, right? And this is giving you an example of kind of these things. There's very little here that's talking about the teacher, right? Nobody's like, oh, he's great, right? The contests are what really make you improve since it forces you to work harder and faster than usual. Really cool, right? So here we're seeing these, people saying it's worth the money, this, that, and talking about specific features that are helping them to achieve the transformation. Here's a little example of this kind of bio that I was talking about, Catherine, like you were already working on right there, right? Where we're kind of making a personal story version of the bio that mimics what our customers are experiencing. 4 years ago, I got rid of everything and made a community membership. At the time, I knew these challenges. I've been able to have a lot of success, and now I want to help you do the same. This is not always an appropriate bio, depending on what you're doing, right? For example, if your personal story does not mirror the customers, don't use this strategy. But if it does, right, like Catherine's saying, right, I didn't know how to build my portfolio, then you are in a good position to talk about how you learned what you learned. Here's an example from the social broker membership again, right? I know how hard it is to show up consistently on social, and I also know how necessary it is to grow your business, right? I've been helping business owners and real estate agents like you since 2006, and I can't wait to help you do the same. And what's interesting here, you'll notice this is barely a bio. We learned nothing about Maris, except that she's a social media strategist and likes tiny dogs and patios, right? It's really about mirroring back the experience of the customer, building trust, helping them see that you understand them. So how are you going to inspire your potential members? Do you have any case studies or testimonials that you can share? And like Catherine was working on, or do you have a personal story that does mirror the customer experience? Let me know in the chat, see what we come up with. And again, if you're brand new and your membership hasn't been launched yet, excuse me, you can definitely use case studies or testimonials from other kinds of work. You can say something like past client or something like that, just so people get the flavor of what it's like to work with you. And just to have some of that social proof that will help people to believe that it's possible to get the outcome. Also, just to be extremely clear, right? These need to be true, right? This is not, we're not faking testimonials. We're not blowing things out of proportion, right? We're really asking people to, just to share what's true. And I'll note, some of the best testimonials that I've seen are ones where they're not saying they got the outcome, right? They're often talking about feeling better, making progress, feeling supported, things like that, depending, again, on what you're doing. Enjoying something, making friends, and not necessarily, I now have a multi-million-dollar membership overnight, or whatever it might be. What do y'all think? Let me know in the chat. What kind of strategy can you do here? Is there a place for a broader bio on the homepage? I'm trying to really cut down too much info on the sales page. But hope that people will come via the homepage first, or maybe who I am doesn't matter unless it's related to the testimonial. I think, Grace, it sounds unlikely based on your work that a lot of people are going to get to the sales page without knowing who you are. You can have you can have an About Me page on your website for people who are looking for that. But generally, honestly, like the who you are is the least important part of the sales page. It's very unlikely that people are going to get to your sales page without having already encountered you in some other way. Some people do get a lot of, SEO driven stuff to their sales pages. It's not super common that that's the first place somebody lands on a website, unless it is literally your homepage, which is a great strategy if you're brand new to your membership. Just have your sales page be your homepage. But yeah, I would put, a little bit of a broader bio on the homepage. I just honestly think that it's one of the least important things, though. See, Catherine says, is it a good idea to use testimonials and personal stories, or is this too much? You can do both. You can definitely do both. 100%. I would recommend doing both. All right. Let's see. Emily founded a feminist classical theater company. We realized it only doing plays by men. Cool. So I think the only thing to add here, Emily, is then make that last bit connect back to them, right? You're talking about you're seeing yourselves, and now like it needs to end talking to the customer directly, right? Now we have a database of over 5,000 titles by women through history and a new sense of possibility to see ourselves and our communities in the classics. You know, what will become possible for you and your community when you are able to bring the legacy of, you know, female playwrights to something. I would just kind of end it with something like that, where you kind of bring it back around. Awesome, y'all. Oh, Grace is related to the transformation. Yeah, definitely. I like a short bio personally, like a transformational kind of bio. And then like, if you do need to put some like, you know, bona fides or the kind of like curriculum vitae stuff, you can kind of do that like quickly at the bottom. Awesome, y'all. Great job. Let's talk a little bit about risk mitigation. Investing in your membership is risky. Anytime we buy anything, it's a risk, right? Like if you buy something and it is a physical product being shipped to you, it can be a risk. You could buy something at the store and get home and it's broken, right? Or the food's gone bad. Any purchase involves some amount of risk. In order to make it easier for people to buy, we want to have some risk mitigation strategy. Now, these are not all required and often not necessarily recommended, kind of to Catherine's question. You know, if you have a refund policy, if that makes sense for the context of your membership, then that's something that is mitigating risk in addition to being a refund policy. A lot of memberships don't do refund policies due to the digital nature of programs. So there's, you know, a lot of different decisions to make there, but that can be a really good strategy for reducing risk, right? If somebody doesn't like it, they can get their money back. Do you offer a free trial, right? This is a really great way to reduce risk. The risk of this is that you get more tire kickers than serious customers. But for a lot of folks, this can be a really good strategy, especially if you have a very high volume of people coming through. One of my favorite strategies to reduce risk is to show the behind the scenes of the membership, right? Show people a video tour, show them images of what they get. This helps to make it more real and make them less worried about buying. Testimonials are also risk mitigation, right? Because you're showing that somebody purchased from you and liked you enough to say something nice about it, okay? Testimonials provide social proof that other people have purchased and not been ripped off. Here's an example back at Cave Day. You can see here, they have get a 7-day free trial, right? They have a free trial here right at the top. I'll also note right below that, it says join thousands of members working smarter and faster. That is, in a sense, a little bit of a testimonial, right? They're using some social proof there. Like thousands of people are in this already. Get a 7-day free trial. So here's an example of that risk mitigation. Back to the Richmond experience, here's a behind the scenes, right? Get a sneak peek of what's in store for you as a member is literally 2 screenshots, like literally. There is the Richmond experience here. This is a screenshot just of the web page, right? And then here is a screenshot on the right-hand side of their newsletter. Catherine asks, is there an easy way in MemberSpace to give a limited access free trial? I am not 100% sure on that. The people who will help you with that are our brilliant customer support people. If you email support@memberspace.com with your question, Catherine, someone will get back to you quite quickly and be able to tell you the best way to arrange that with a free trial. Yeah, they are, like, I'm familiar with the software, but they know all of the ins and outs and they'll be able to help you. Right, so here's just even like a screenshot of something. You can also do a video tour. That is one of the best things that you can do if it makes sense for your membership. It's nice just to show people around. It helps to really reduce the risk. People are like, oh, right, there's actually something here. So especially, I think pretty much everyone here is making a digital product of some kind, right? A digital membership or a digital magazine, digital access to something. Just letting people know that there's a there is really helpful. People have become much more savvy purchasing online, but it still can be a little nerve-wracking to hand over your credit card for something that is as intangible and as access to something. This is a really great way to reduce that risk. Oh, Catherine says they're absolutely amazing. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So which of these risk reduction, risk mitigation strategies makes the most sense for you? Let me know in the chat if one of these is resonating with you, if there's one that you're already trying. I do recommend picking one. I think as a default, the behind the scenes is a really great one for everyone to include because you can so easily put it on the sales page. You can embed the video, you can do the screenshots. Allison has a free trial. Cool. I love that. Exactly, Catherine. Behind the scenes can be used in multiple formats. I'll often send that out during in an email during a launch too, and show them the behind the scenes and as an email. Send them a link to a video so that people can see it that way as well. All right, Allison's got the free trial. Awesome. What else are we working on? Emily's going to add a screenshot of the website. Yeah, fantastic, right? Especially with this database and all that stuff, that's going to be super helpful for people just to really envision what the access is. I love it. Any other ideas? All right. I do recommend picking one. And I think, again, the behind the scenes tends to work well for everyone. So let's get into the final piece of what's required in order for people to make a buying decision and the last section on your sales page, which is the value demonstration. You have to communicate the value of your membership to overcome price objections. When someone's buying something, they're going to automatically compare the price of your membership to something. This is just the way our brains work. This is kind of behavioral economics, kind of like behavioral psychology stuff. They're going to automatically think of something else. We love comparisons. Part of what we want to do is help to make sure that the comparison actually makes sense, right? So for example, if you have a super robust program with feedback and coaching and this and that, you really don't want them to be comparing your price to that of like a podcast in the same field, right? Or a book versus like essentially like, a degree program, right? And what we want to do is to help people have the proper context for the price so that if there is a price objection, it's because they genuinely are not a good fit, or if they can't afford it, but that of course is fine as well. But we don't want to folks to look at your membership and then automatically compare it to the cheapest thing they can think of, right? $1,000 for a chocolate bar is very expensive. $1,000 for a car would be very cheap, right? Price is a contextual communication. So there's a few strategies here that we're going to take a look at. The first is the idea of the price anchor, either high or low. We'll look at that, but essentially it's having a price on your page that helps to frame the actual price of the membership. Value stacking is a way of creating the feeling of a lot for your money by showing all of the different things that people get. And you can use bonuses. Positioning features as extras, as bonuses, helps to add value. And it can also help to overcome objections. So for example, if people are nervous that they won't use it, maybe you have a bonus about accountability, for example. Let's look at some examples here. Here's a great example of a price anchor. This is a low price anchor, right? Less than $1 per week. That's it. Would you pay $1 a week to know the best stuff going on around? Well, you don't even have to because it's actually only 75 cents per week. That's right. You can get this for just $39 per year or $3.25 per month, less than a craft beer at happy hour. They are price anchoring and all over the place, right? This is extremely robust. Then, of course, there's a very clear call to action to purchase, but less than $1 per week, right? They're trying to show you how inexpensive this is, and they're comparing it to the craft beer at happy hour, right? Which makes sense because they are helping people to go out and experience things in Richmond. Here is an example of a value stack and a price anchor, all right? We're doing multiple things on this one. The value stack is here where we have this list of things that people get. In this example, I have actually listed price values for these things. Coming up with these prices often is really valuable to do based off of what your hourly rate might be, for example, or if you sold it on its own, how much it would cost is a way you can think about doing this. Even if you don't do the valued at prices, just showing kind of a recap of everything that's included when they're introduced to the price helps people to see the value, right? So when you look at this and you're like, okay, great, we get the content, the calls, the community for $60, it doesn't feel quite as expensive because they have the full context. If we just said join for $60 a month, you're going to be like, oh man, but I could like go to dinner. I have a client, you say, that's a lot of burritos. You want to have the context. There's also a price anchor here, right? Because we have the $600 yearly price. I usually recommend having a maximum of 2 prices. The more choices there are, the harder it is for people to make a decision. But having 2 is really nice because the 600 yearly makes the $60 look cheaper, right? And then of course, people who do join yearly, you'll see in this example, I had a 2 months free. This is pretty common kind of pricing strategy. If somebody goes month to month, that is a little bit more, and they get this extra value. So this strategy gives you the opportunity to show the value and to anchor the price so that people have proper context for the cost. You've seen this all over, really common if you go to purchase a magazine subscription online, they'll have the price, it'll be slashed through, and there'll be the discount. I don't love discounting, especially as small businesses. I think there's usually chances are that your pricing is already low. But that's what that strategy is, the kind of fake discount when you go to sign up for a magazine online or something like that. They are trying to price anchor off of the higher price. So do any of these strategies resonate for you, or are you using them already? How can you demonstrate the value? Again, the goal here is to create context for the purchase, right? Making sure that they're comparing it to something that is comparable. Some other things you can do would be to say, if you bought this all individually, it would cost X. If you're a coach, you can compare, or a teacher, or somewhere where they hire you one-on-one, or a strategist, you can say, we're hiring me one-on-one to do this, starts at this price, but in the membership, you get access to these things for this, right? So, if you have a certain rate where you work with people privately, you can do something like that. Allison says, they say undervaluing your product service initially is one of the worst mistakes you can make starting out. It's harder to jack up the price later unless you add a bunch of features. I don't know about that necessarily. It's hard to increase the price for existing customers unless you add a bunch of features. I think that it's actually often easier to raise your price instead of lowering your price. But undervaluing your product or service is a huge issue because it means you're not getting paid enough to. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that raising the price is hard. But again, it would be hard to raise it for your existing customers in a membership. You could raise it for new people. That's very common. But I do think it's really important to make sure that you have the right price, and this kind of demonstrating value in this way can help that price to look appropriate instead of looking like it's too high. Yes, Emily, I love this. The time is such a good example, right? Would a comparison of saved number of hours of research be helpful? Definitely. So that's something I see really commonly for folks who are working in more academic fields or kind of more professional fields. Like I've had some people who have like kind of medical work and stuff where it kind of like talking in terms of price value doesn't make as much sense. So yeah, I think the time is a really good anchor, Emily. And then that'll help people to really see that. You're saving hours and hours of value. Awesome. Great job. Yep. Anything else here? Any other questions or any other ideas on how you can demonstrate the value? I love Emily's hours idea. That's really good. Awesome, y'all. All right. Your sales page is ready to convert, my friends, right? We have covered all of the key components that your sales page needs in order. You have workshopped a lot of these ideas already, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for giving yourself the gift in the space to actually work out these things a little bit and start to do this brainstorming, right? This is hard to do on our own. Also, when we are making our own stuff, it's always harder to describe it, to experience it, to value it appropriately. So I'm really happy you guys took the time to do this today. Grace says, I'm going to put all my ebooks into the shop for 10 pounds each. And when they're free to the members, you can quantify that. Definitely, right? That's a really great example. Yep. If your membership includes something that you sell separately, you can definitely use that as a value anchor. So your next steps here, right, just to clarify, are to refine the messaging we talked about today, right? Get that transformation extremely clear and make sure that everything on the page is tying back to that transformation. We want to make sure that we're hitting all of these different points so that your customers are getting the information they need in order to buy. And of course, we're here for you at MemberSpace, right? We do have some of the best customer support in the business, and we have our membership business coaching available to you as well. We're here to help you succeed. We only succeed when you succeed, so you're not alone on this journey. If you need help with any of the technical implications or implementation of MemberSpace, of course, our support team is there to help you. And if you need help with your business stuff, that's what I'm here for. We do have live membership business coaching coming up next week. If you are joining us inside of MemberSpace, if you're a MemberSpace customer, then you can come to coaching for free. I'm just going to grab this link and drop it. This is really fantastic. If you take what we've been talking about today and you're ready for some feedback on it, you can go over here and register for our coaching call. These are small group coaching calls where you'll submit your question in advance so I can review it and prepare. You can submit a single question, and then in a small group setting, we will go over it. So if you do update your sales page, work on this transformational statement, take some of this information, and then you're ready for feedback, I am there to help you. So you can go ahead and reserve your spot for next week, and I would be delighted to help you with that. You're so welcome, Rashonda. So yeah, as you're applying this info, if there's more coming up, we can do that. Do we have any questions? Does anyone have a sales page they'd like me to take a quick look at while we're here? I can definitely do that. We can use one kind of as an example if we have someone who is who's brave. No, I know we just went through a bunch of stuff. You're probably all like, oh no, my sales page needs to be updated. Yeah, exactly. Emily says I have so much more to add now. Totally. Come to coaching next week or so. Awesome, Sandy. We'll take a quick look at yours and build off of this. Okay, great. And of course, Sandy, just like Emily said, we know that now you're going to have a lot of things to update, but we'll kind of point out a few things here as an example. Thank you so much. All right. All right, here we are, Fit and Ageless with Sandy. Never too late to become the best version of you. All right. So already off the top, right, we do have some really strong statements here in terms of the transformation. And this is really strong, right? Reverse the clock and become fit and ageless, an online weight loss and body sculpting course. What we might do here is kind of get just directly to it, just speak so quickly to people instead of the my signature course kind of thing. Okay. No one cares, right? No, you know, for women over 40 who want to finally break through the obstacles and be fit and ageless, right? Just go right into it. So we're going to move, right? Like we talked about, some of the stuff about you down a little bit, right? We're going to move it even further down and up here, kind of speak a little bit more directly to those challenges that are people having. Right? You have them kind of written here, which is fantastic. And I think if we break them out just a little bit more in that before and after that you were working on, right? And I love what you're talking about here, right? In terms of like this, there's the physical ways they want to feel. But some of what you talked about, Sandy, here today, right? We're talking about being able to chase after your grandkids, right? That it's not just about how you look, it's also about your entire lifestyle. Painting some of that picture here will be really, really strong for people. Looks like we have a video, which is great. And here we do have, yep, kind of a bit of that bio here. I think a really great thing to do would be to, yeah, okay, fantastic. This is talking a little bit more about kind of your experience in the field, which is great to have. But I think that, you know, maybe there's a little bit more here about this decision to start competing, to make that change that might be interesting to include in the bio, again, to kind of mirror that customer experience like we were talking about. Love the case studies, right? Look at this. This is so fantastic. This is a great example of a case study. I love this, right? The strength I have now makes everything I do easier and faster. I feel great. I have gained self-confidence. I feel and act, look younger, more social instead of staying at home, right? This is a really good example. And I love this one. I'm going to like really call this one out because it's not saying anything about Sandy, right? It's not about Sandy. It's not about her. It's about Diana and how Diana feels. So it really is like a very great example of the kinds of case studies that are going to really shine for people. So yeah, we want to add in a little bit of that before and after. The bio, maybe make it just a little bit more resonant with the customer experience. And then here's what you get, right? So we have the different modules here. Let's see, I'm going to coach fully the 6 key components. I'm getting quick start. Whoop. I may recommend taking the pop-up off of the page because you really want people to be focused on buying. And now you've given them the opportunity to do something for free instead, which can just be a distraction, right? They're going to enter this and then they're going to move on with their lives. So maybe on this page, I wouldn't have that. And I think, really look at this, right? So you can easily incorporate it. Yeah, the copy here looks really strong. In terms of like kind of clarifying, and I think that this is a really great example of how you can kind of break this out and make it really clear. Make food planning easy, right? This is a very transformational language that we have on this page. Really great job, Sandy. Supplements. Okay, great. And awesome. Okay. I feel like this might be a really great, I imagine a lot of people have a big objection to lifting weights, would be my guess. It's kind of a common objection. People are afraid they're going to be really bulky. So you might even want to say, maybe you can say something a little bit more than that, like not just that they overlook it, but like they're worried about it, if that's something that you're encountering. I know it's a pretty common kind of misconception in the field. Another case study for Karen, fantastic. Again, another great one, right? Really like, I'm stronger. I feel great, love it. Another great case study. Amazing. And look at this, right? Sandy, awesome job. We have our risk mitigation with the bonuses, these videos and these quick and easy recipes. I might change the text of this so that you don't actually have to hover over it to see it. Just in case somebody doesn't do that, it's just a little bit awkward. So what you could do instead is kind of put these just on top of each other, right? You get these amazing free bonuses, yeah, especially because there's a lot of text here, definitely. So I bet people aren't reading this. They're probably losing this information. It's not clear that it's something you can scroll on. So I would pull those out. And I would also make sure that you're really making clear what the transformation is of this, in the sense, as you say, like, with busy women in mind, really speak to them and be like, you want to commit to changing how you feel. But that getting into the kitchen and making healthy food has been hard for you, right? These recipes are designed to XYZ. So I think really speaking to that very, very clearly. And I think that maybe a little bit of clarity here about the difference between these exercise videos and then the program itself might be a little bit helpful as well. We have another great case study. Fantastic. Awesome. And lots of before and after photos. Great. All right. I might reiterate the transformational promise here. Instead of saying these amazing results can be yours, say something like, you could just go into like, it's time to get this result, or say, are you ready for this result? Are you ready for this experience? The total program value of $997, great job with the price anchor, but there's no context for it. So it kind of feels like you just pulled it out of nowhere, right? This might be a really nice place to do that recap style, like I showed in the example, where you're kind of adding up all the different things that are included, including those bonuses. And that is going to, that will make it more clear. And then this is a little confusing to me. We have the $347. We have the $399, 3 payments of $99, but then you also, that's $147. So there's a little bit of a price confusion here in terms of what the price actually is. So I don't know what this 147 number is, Sandy. So I would probably create some kind of like value stacking to show where that price is coming from. Yeah, typo, totally. All right, great. Then I'm glad we found it. Yeah, we can kind of show that. Yeah, but I think the value stack, because you have also shown them a lot of stuff. This is a very classic long form sales page. They might not even totally remember all of this by the time they get down here. So you can do the value stacking and have the let's see, you can do the value stacking and then have the that show basically how you're getting to this program value number and include those bonuses as well. And you can show kind of the price of the bonus. You kind of alluded in this one that there's, that this costs like that the exercise videos have a cost that you usually charge. So I think that would be really powerful here to make this more potent. We get to see these videos as well. Let's see. This is kind of like the second bio. I think you probably only need one. And I do think that ultimately this sounds like again, remember, keep in mind, I'm just reading this for the first time. This sounds a little bit more like the kind of transformational bio here that will be really powerful. So my guess is that the one up here, you can probably take out and replace that with that kind of customer journey experience. Let's see. All right, 5 ways that will help you get your health back. I would make this a little more specific. 5 ways that the program will help you get your health back. It's not totally. I would just really state that specifically. Let's see. It's nice to have some numbers here, right? That most participants have these experiences. Maybe the payments again, and an FAQ. Awesome. All right. How do you get access to this? Also, really do love this, right? For the time thing, anything that you have where people have time, it's going to be, right, where time is a requirement, it's always going to be one of the biggest objections and one of the biggest risks, right? Somebody joining and then being surprised by how much time it takes. So I do love that we have this really clear, you're going to need to spend this much time, right? Being really upfront about that here is super important. And then, you kind of have this motivational text around that. But if you're working with people and they're going to have to dedicate time to something, I think it is important to say that upfront, especially just in this day and age, people tend to be very overwhelmed and overbooked. So this will make it really clear to set those expectations. All right. Okay. Cool. This is also super fun, right? Lots of great objection busting here. Oh, they get a personal one-on-one call with you, Sandy? Oh, we need to put that somewhere else. If I missed it on the page, which is possible because I am just kind of skimming it now, I would totally include that under your bonuses. I would have that and you also get a one-on-one onboarding call with Sandy to customize your experience inside the program. That's valued at in whatever your rate is, like $300 or $400, $500 or something like that. Yeah, pull it out, Sandy, because that, especially for an online program like this, that just sounds like such a mind-blowing, that's going to make such a difference to get your guidance in terms of applying that, right? And then you could also include that again in that value stacking. Great, and then we have the payments again. Awesome. Yeah, this page is in really great shape, Sandy. I'm excited for you to apply some of the things that we talked about today. I think just a couple of those, little more of that before and after about how they're going to feel, how that's going to change their lives. In terms of what the energy levels make possible, what the confidence makes possible. I really love that testimonial you had about the person who was having a hard time leaving their house and now was out and about more and having a more social life. Those kinds of really strong examples, I think, are going to be really exciting. And then, I think the value stack is going to be super powerful for yours because you're including this program is a wild value. There is so much in there, especially with the call for you. So the value stack is going to really help to put that price into context. You're so welcome, Sandy. See, Emily says, I'm not sure if I can make it next Thursday. Can we get alerted about future coaching calls? Yep. If you are on the MemberSpace mailing list, which if you're a MemberSpace customer, you should be. I think every Monday they've been sending out a newsletter that has the events for the week. So including any webinars or trainings that I'm doing, and then the coaching calls. And you can usually book 2 weeks in advance. So I think if you check that link tomorrow, Emily, you'll be able to book for the following week. But you can also just keep an eye out on your inbox on Mondays, I think is when they're sending that newsletter. Yeah, you're welcome. We got a couple more minutes. Emily, we'll take a quick look at your page as well. All right, let me share this real quick. And we'll wrap up. And yeah, any of you are welcome to come and join us for coaching once you start to work on stuff. Oh, right. Expand the canon. Celebrates classic plays by women and underrepresented genders and is a call to action to produce them. Cool. So I think I'm going to be so excited to see you implement some of the things we talked about today. Because we can see this is such a great example of, I mean, of course, like this is a great mission statement, but it's not a transformational statement for the members, right? It's not about what they're going to be doing with it. It's more about like the mission of your program and of your organization. So we could almost imagine this just starting like, celebrate classic plays and produce them, right? So it's like we celebrate these classic plays and produce them. Like you're talking directly to the dream person for this, and they're like, oh yeah, like, yes, that is me, right? Instead of like classic plays by historical women, we can imagine this button being something that's a little bit more about what they're going to do with it. Like, like discover these plays, produce these plays, that kind of thing. Here we have some really great examples of the kind of features versus benefits. This is like kind of a list of the features. So this is something that can probably be put in a different place and in a slightly different way. And kind of giving those examples of, I think, especially for this audience, right? Seeing this is helping me understand a lot more of what you're doing here as well, Emily. But, we can imagine, I imagine people who are purchasing this, right, are they maybe have their own theater companies, maybe they're in educational roles, right? Doing plays in schools, probably. You can start to see the kinds of examples that what they're going to be looking for, right? Yeah, totally. Okay, cool, Emily. Sorry, I think it took me a minute to totally understand the project. I think we got there, but now that I'm seeing the page, I'm like, all right, now I really get it. Yeah, so you can really start to see those examples in that kind of customer journey here. And you're getting into this, right? I love this example, like an Arrested Development from the 18th century. I'm like, yes, please, I want that. Like, really, these are really fun. And we can see how in this section, it would be such a great place to be like, like you'd love to, have your high schoolers put on an Arrested Development from the 18th century by a female playwright from wherever, right? You can kind of see what that might look like with a bit more of the context for the customer journey. This is the partner organizations. I would probably either move that in the bottom, or I wonder if there's a different way we could do it. On a sales page, generally, we don't want links that go elsewhere. We really want people to be focused on the page. So the articles and press, I'd probably put on a different page. You could have a section here that was kind of like as seen in, and have some of these logos, and maybe have another section that's like collaborators, and maybe have some logos from some of these. But you've got some really serious collaborators here. Something where it's not necessarily linking out. There's probably another place on your page on your website where it would make sense to do that. Let's see, why expand the canon? Yeah, do it. Okay. Same thing here with the podcast. Okay, got it. Yeah, so I think that ultimately, right, this is not quite a sales page at this point. It's a little bit more of an info page. So rebuilding this with a bit more of that sales page in mind, and this kind of thing, like, why expand the canon? I can already see how this can be rewritten in a way where you're really speaking directly to the potential member, right? As a theater professional, as a director, as a dramaturg, like whatever it is, the only stories, as long as the only stories reviewed by classics are men, we'll continue to prioritize this lens, right? You have the opportunity, you have the power, you have the ability to insist on these excellent works or something, right? So you could almost imagine rewriting some of these sections in the kind of copy that we talked about, making that really shine. And this is the kind of thing, where I think you'll be able to probably put this into the context of kind of features and benefits a little bit more clearly. Very cool. Yeah. And I think that there's all this information can be put in a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if there's too much text, but the way that they're framed right now, it's a little, first of all, they're a little bit buried. I think that you can probably rewrite them. And just again, imagine you're talking to somebody who like, yeah, came to one of these plays and was like, oh, I want to learn more about your organization, right? Just imagine you're just talking directly to them. Um, and putting them in the context really of like features and benefits. I think that will give you that information. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, cool to have photos from the plays. I like that a lot. So yeah, Emily, I really want to excited to see when you kind of like pull this out a little bit. And I think it is a little bit challenging, but just keeping because of the context you're working within. But I think that that piece of how to it is kind of bridge the gap between the more almost kind of like academic space that you're working within and recognizing that you are talking to actual people on the other side. Um, I think that if you can bridge that gap in the copy, it'll really start to pop. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see the review after you've implemented some of this. All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining me today for our sales page workshop. Again, really, if you have the opportunity, start to implement some of these things, come to coaching so that in the small group setting, I can take a look at what you've been working on and give you some more specific and detailed feedback. Often, as you've already learned today, right, it's not until we start trying to make it work that we can see kind of where the holes and the gaps are. And the language often is very hard to do for ourselves, right? It's not, we can read other people's stuff all day long, but doing it for our own work is always challenging. It's in our head, etc. So we'll close for today. There is going to be a brief survey after the end of this. If you can just give us a little bit of feedback, that will let us know how we're supporting you and how we can improve our membership business coaching offers here at MemberSpace. And I look forward to seeing you all on another call or on coaching soon. Thank you all so much. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. All right. Bye for now.